I very much appreciate all of you taking your afternoon and helping us today. My name is Brent Iverson. I'm the Dean of School of Undergraduate Studies, and I'm going to be helped up here by Lori Holleran-Steicher, who is from the School of Social Work. She's an associate professor and a provost teaching fellow. And what we are doing here today is the second in what's going to be an ongoing conversation on this campus about undergraduate education in all of its various aspects. And when you think about such a thing, you realize that many parties need to be part of that conversation. One of the most important, I think we can all agree, are the students. And that's why we're here today. We'll be focusing on the residential experience at UT Austin. And that means essentially everything from the day a student enters the dorm for the first time or wherever they're going to live until the present day for all of you students who are here. And I want you to think about things not only inside the classroom, but also outside the classroom. All the things that make this experience what is UT Austin. Today, we're going to moderate a conversation that focuses on three intentionally very open-ended questions. The first question is, from the student's point of view, what do you think we're doing right here at the university? The second question is, what are we not doing? Or what are we not doing as well as we could? And then finally, we're going to ask your opinions if you were going to plot the future of the university in any of its different forms. What are the things that, from a student's point of view, we should be thinking about of UT in 2020 or 2025? What would you like to be there that isn't here right now? And so there is a specific goal of this meeting. This is not just an open-ended conversation. If we are successful, then by the time we're done, we're going to know what's on your minds. We're going to know what those key issues are. So Dr. Steicher and I will be moderating a discussion where we're looking for those moments where a student says something and all the other students say, yeah, that's it. That's right. That's what I'm thinking. And we're going to take note of those. And so as this conversation develops, and it's being run out of the provost's office, by the way, with all the different stakeholders. I want to make that clear. This is part of an ongoing conversation that I think is really healthy. It's unique at the university, and I'm very proud to be a part of it. And the student voice is a critical voice because all the subsequent conversations, we're always going to be able to know what was on your mind. We're not going to solve any problems today, perhaps. Maybe someone has an idea that we're going to do. You never know. But we are hopefully going to find out what are those big issues, what are those things we have to think about and consider. Okay, I want to add a little bit of perspective here. And so I want to ask the students a question. Back in 1978, I left high school and I started at a university. I was 9 years old when I started the university. And back then, just like everywhere else in the country, we always studied in the library. Always. We always went to the library. And so I'd like, just as an icebreaker, a student to be brave, raise her hand, and explain why it was they think we always studied in the library. Always. Yeah. That's it. It's where the books were. We did have an analog search engine. Okay, it was called the card catalog. And that shows you how much things have changed. I mean, that's pretty hard to conceive of. And imagine this. So let me try to put this in perspective. It's 1978. I'm sitting next to a young lady. We're studying some very difficult topic. And she asked me a question, and I can't answer it. Imagine if in 1978 I said, hey, let's go find a Wi-Fi hotspot, and let's Google that. I would have got slapped. And now, that is exactly what it is that you think of when it comes to information. So as we think of the university, we realize the university doesn't hold all the information. It's not in the libraries anymore, the only place you could really find it. It's not in the heads of the faculty members, because that's the only place you could find it. You have access to information. So as we think of the residential campus, we have to start thinking about what it is that will make it so that next year and the year after, 40,000 students want to come to UT Austin. What are we going to give them besides just information that's really going to make it an experience that they want to share? Okay, to help get started, we videotaped some students who have been asked questions along the lines of what we're going to talk about. And just to remind you, we're going to want to know today, from your point of view, everything. It doesn't have to be simply in a classroom. What do you think we're doing right at the university? Then what are we not doing, or maybe not doing as well as we should? And then finally, where are we going to go to really be that university that has even more applicants by the year 2020, 2025? Remembering, we're not where all the knowledge is anymore. That's everywhere. So as a way to begin, we have some interviews that have been taped with some students. I know it's kind of dim in this room. Hopefully we'll be able to see those.
My most valuable experience was the Freshman Research Initiative.
I would say that the most valuable experience I've had was being a peer mentor in the College of Natural Sciences and a learning assistant in introductory chemistry.
Being part of the Digital Media Institute, so that was an internship that led me to a good job.
The choir that I'm a part of got invited to sing with the Dallas Wind Symphony, and that was pretty awesome.
I think my most valuable experience would be getting involved in student leadership organizations, particularly the Senate of College Councils.
Dr. Root's class was especially valuable to me because it helped me choose the path that I would go on for the rest of my life. I know that sounds a little weird coming from a sophomore, but it really helped me broaden my perspectives in science.
I think for me the most valuable experience I've had is joining in group work and sharing in other people's experiences in the social work program.
Oh, when I think about my most valuable experience, it was my first year at UT. I was a transfer student, so I wasn't a freshman, but it was my first experiences here in a big university. And a lot of professors were busy with their research and stuff, but this one professor actually showed interest in the questions that I asked and the ideas that I had, and he recommended me several books.
Another Indian thing I've done is I've joined the Indian music ensemble, and I learned to play the Indian bamboo flute called Bansuri, and I've really enjoyed working with Professor Slavik.
Probably the most beneficial has been the reward I've gotten from being able to collaborate with my peers and get to educate people my own age on chemistry.
It's taught me how to lead a group of people, how to manage my time, how to be organized, how to complete a project.
My relationship with Professor Slavik was really great because Indian music, you don't really have anything written down. It's all from memory, and we have to communicate from memory, and he would play for 10 minutes or so, and then we would have to reproduce that music.
I mean, I'm trying to get into the music career, so that was definitely insane. I mean, I got to stand on stage with all these amazing musicians, and I got to see what was ahead of me.
After I finished my semester of research as a freshman in that lab, I began to peer mentor for research methods and then that lab, and so from that experience, I was taught how to be led and how to lead.
Digital media just really grew to be my passion. I think that being able to combine both my major and something that I love doing on the side really enhances my experience.
I didn't expect to learn how much you really grow in 4 years here.
It opened up a lot of doors for me. It really allowed me to connect with people who are just as passionate about science as I am.
I get to UT and on a whim apply to this Freshman Research Initiative program, and 3 years later I'm traveling internationally with some of my best friends to present my research.
Just speaking to the people at the graduate school at Columbia, they tell me that I have a lot of technical experience, that they want to have me take part in research.
When I came to UT, I was very competitive. I was a flutist and wanted to be first flute in orchestra and make it into the big ones, LA Phil or New York Phil. But as I have come to realize that music is not only about competition at all, it's about being cooperative, working together.
Going through that process with those professors and with those people with that kind of people that make you feel good about who you are or what you have in mind, made me more confident about what I want to do, about what I want to research on, how I want to grow as a person.
I never would have thought that I would be where I am today. I'm getting ready to apply for medical school, and I've gotten to experience some of the best in cancer research.
And it showed me what I could do possibly with research and where I could go. And it led me to the decision of going for a PhD and not an MD.
I didn't expect to learn how much my worldview would grow and change and be shaped by my 4 years here on campus.
Who do we give credit for that to?
The video was put together by Dee and Brian, right back here in the back.
Oh, Brian
yeah.
Schwartz.
Brian Schwartz.
What we're looking for now in the first part of this is going to be, in sort of business terms, what's UT Austin's, in your point of view, from your point of view, what is UT Austin's secret sauce? Why is it that there were 40,000 people who wanted to come here? As we think about the UT Austin of the future, what do we have to make darn sure we don't give up in that process? And so what we'd like you to do is, you arrange in tables. So what I'd like you to do is start the conversation, break the ice a little bit, talk among your tables, have students talk to faculty, faculty talk to students, but just listen to what the students have to say, what they think is that essence, that element, that secret sauce. They want to make darn sure we don't lose as we move forward. So go ahead and start.
Okay, that's been about 3 minutes. So at this point, we want to make sure that we're broadening the conversation out into the whole group. So who is bold enough to share their first impression of what we're doing right here? I'm going to come to you because I've met you before the thing. So you're going to break our ice. Is that okay? All right, so give me a sense. Here, we got a mic here. What's the special sauce? What's UT doing right? Oh, it's not on.
Can you guys hear me? Awesome. One of the things that UT is doing...
say your name and your department.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Hey, everyone. I'm Jimmy Wadman. I am neurobiology. I'm in the College of Natural Sciences. And one of the things that UT is doing very well is promoting diversity in education.
Okay. Diversity in what sense? I'm going to push it.
All right. They're promoting diversity in the sense that you can take a single class, but you can get a wide variety of information from that single class, because we bring in so many great professors that all have unique research missions, and if you want to go talk to them, you can learn a lot more than just the subject you're studying. You can learn a lot about information that isn't limited to the scope of the degree plan and the syllabus.
Fantastic. All right, other people with the special sauce. Okay, let's hear it.
Hi everyone, my name is Shannon Geeson. I am in the Macomb School of Business, and I think as an out-of-state student, sorry, I'm so sorry I'm wearing another sweatshirt. I felt like I was
For
so
real?
embarrassed.
No.
It was the only thing clean this morning, sorry.
Yeah.
But,
we need better laundry services.
Yeah.
Okay, put that down for later.
As an out-of-state student, I'm actually from the Bay Area, right outside San Francisco. And in order to really be attracted to UT, it was whenever I was accepted, first off, you guys said, welcome to the Longhorn family. That made me feel really special. That was something that a lot of other schools didn't really make me feel a part of the community like that. Also, whenever I wore UT shirts everywhere, even, 2,000 miles away, people would always stop me and they would say, oh my goodness, do you go to UT?
Yeah.
I graduated from there. Or they would just flash the hook 'em horn sign. And that was something that was really special to me, that was something I wanted to be a part of. So I really think you guys are doing a great job nurturing the Longhorn community, because obviously the alumni are obsessed with the school and obviously had a good experience. So that was something that really made me want to come all the way here to be a part of that. So.
Fantastic. So she wanted to bleed orange too. Who else? Ideas? We'll have a couple more. Let me run over here. I get my exercise. Okay, thanks.
Hi, everyone. My name is Braden Jones. Thanks again for taking the time to be here today. For me, the most critical thing that UT does, that special sauce, are the connection groups that are offered for freshman students, such as the FIG, and now we've expanded that with the 360 mentor program. I'm not sure, I think everyone may know this, but just in case you don't, as a student who was in a FIG my freshman year, it automatically formed study groups for communities, and I had the same class with 20 other students. It was a great opportunity for me to take a class with 300 or 400 students and break that down to 20 familiar faces, and not just one class, but 3 or 4 separate classes. Also, I think it's a statistic that students who are involved with FIG and 360 mentor programs have 1 letter grade higher on average than students who are not in those organizations, and for me, every student should be involved with a FIG. That should be one of our #1 priorities, and I think the university is taking great strides with that with the 360 Connection program.
Fantastic. Okay, FIGs and 360 connections. One more, how about? Did we have somebody else at this table? I thought I saw a hand. Oh, same thing. Okay, great, we have someone else.
Hello, everyone. My name is Courtney Sanders. I'm a graduating senior in the government department. And I discussed with my table is the marketing of UT itself. You know, the secret sauce is what we have been doing and continue to do. And I think sometimes we don't think about the simple things. And it's just marketing. I think she did a great job explaining what marketing can do. And I hope that we continue to just talk about the marketing of our academics and, you know, something as simple as the football team. I come from a neighborhood where, you know, people are not likely to graduate from high school, but if you go to the super center or supermarket, you see that burnt orange and you ask your parents, what is that? What does that mean? And they say, that's UT, it's a college, you should think about going, and that starts a conversation. So the marketing of UT has made household conversations nationwide, and I think that that's really important, and I hope that we continue to market and brand what UT is all about.
Okay, great, great. Anything you want to jump in? Should I keep going? Next question. Keep going. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, more definitions of what makes UT unique from others. I think a lot of the university's marketing. How do we manage to create that excitement?
Hey there, my name's Connor. I'm in the College of Liberal Arts. One thing that I've really noticed from my classes is I didn't really expect as much collaboration between students, but a lot of my professors really promote like students getting together outside of class and forming Facebook groups and things like that, because Dr. Iverson talked about how we have all the information, it's all out there, but you don't really know how to synthesize that and put that together. And one thing I've really noticed is like, if I'm in like an OChem class and we have a problem that we can't solve, someone will post on the group and they'll say, I don't know how to do this. And then everyone else jumps in and it's like, you do this, you take this step, you do this. And it's really cool to see everybody kind of work together and push and like have study groups that they've formed. And I really like the idea of forming more study spaces that are collaborative, like maybe have like a science space where you have like a biochemistry study night every night and people can get together and work on problem sets, things like that. Just really expanding programs where people collaborate.
Okay. So. Collaboration, that's huge. I think that came across in the FIG and 360 answer and your answer with study groups. We had somebody else. Great.
Hi, I'm Trey Curran. I am a aerospace engineering Plan 2 major. For me, the University of Texas's X factor is the ability as a university that we have for all the opportunities and resources that a research university that has over 50,000 students provides, while still maintaining that specified understanding and specialty where you can truly find those resources and opportunities that are specific to you and your interests and your true passions. And I feel that that duality between that huge pool but still being able to fish in your particular area for your like prize fish is what really makes the University of Texas very special.
Love that. That's great. All right. So, we got somebody else that has an idea. Oh, thanks. There's another mic. Good deal.
Hi, my name is Hillary Plochek, and I'm a corporate communications senior here at UT. And I think one of the great things that UT does is the professors and the staff are so encouraging towards the students. I've never seen a more atmosphere where in any room, in any building, I feel like the people around me want me to succeed. And I work actually in the Office of Student Success and Liberal Arts, and just sitting and listening, and I'm not even a liberal arts student, but sitting and listening to the advisors and how much they talk to their students and how they care and how they offer they can do anything to help. And the same thing can be said with the professors. They're so accommodating, and I think the staff selection here at UT is just on point.
Fantastic. So the themes that I'm hearing are collaboration, both with other students, collaboration with resources, and collaboration with people who care about your success and your outcomes. And that comes across as part of the spirit of UT, which is contagious, right? Which mixed with all that we have going on the campus becomes the X factor. I like that, secret sauce. All right, so next thing.
Does this work?
Yes, only when we hand them out.
Oh, didn't work when, am I on? Okay. What I'd like to do is so we heard a lot of really interesting ideas, and I may have not have characterized them the best way when I tried to capture them just now. But I'm interested in hearing it's a little more in an anonymous way. I've been trying to read the Twitter feed, and I haven't seen anything that's really jumping out ahead of this conversation so much. It's just sort of reflecting it. Don't be afraid to put some stuff out there. We will be watching it. But I'm going to go through and try my best to characterize very quickly what we just heard. And I'd like, with a show of applause, cheers, whistles, whatever, from the students, how, just sort of relative gauge of how much you think this is capturing what we need to make darn sure of as this conversation goes forward, we don't lose. So learning beyond the classroom, that was the first comment. Taking what's in the classroom and then going a lot deeper. How many people think that's really critical to the success of University of Texas? All right. The Longhorn family. Figs, 360 connections. Are you guys just like everything that students say?
That's the collaboration and
I'm looking for that.
camaraderie.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Marketing UT, I thought that was fascinating because that's not a conversation.
Little less so, huh? So is there somebody that thinks marketing might not be the attention that we need to give? And have any spin on that? Devil's advocate? Great. Oh, I left my mic behind. I'll steal yours.
Hello, my name is Sasha, and I'm a BM2 and business student. And it's not that I don't think that marketing is very important. I just think that that's already a very high priority, I feel like, for UT. And within the state of Texas, I think there's already a lot of knowledge and about the university. So if there's individual changes about what we're doing here on campus that need to be focused on, maybe more so than that.
Okay, great. Anyone else? A reaction? Here we go. Sure.
My name is Chris Jordan. I'm a business and liberal arts student in my second year. I agree with the marketing comment, but I think less so on marketing like the UT brand, but marketing the student services that we have here at UT. Like, I've been thankful to be a part of student government, and just the sheer amount of student services that we have at this school that a lot of people don't know about is pretty staggering to me. And when I compare that to my friends who go to other schools, they're blown away by the fact that we have such a great advising program. Like, I can sit in a 45-minute one-on-one meeting with my academic advisor in a school of 50,000 students, and I don't think that happens elsewhere. Same thing with things like, the University Health Center, the Counseling and Mental Health Center. Like, all those things, all those resources operate in such a fluid and effective way, but I think they need to be brought out more.
Okay.
Students need to know about them.
So does anybody have other ideas about that specific comment about how we have these resources that people may not know about, how that impacts students or the community? Thoughts about that? Oh, there's someone. Right next to you.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Reyna. I'm a third year. I'm a couple different majors. One of the biggest things that I think is harmful to how we're trying to market everything is that there's no one centralized place to find all this information. I know as a FIG mentor, I was an orientation advisor, and it was always really hard for me to remember everything that I'm supposed to be teaching the students because everything is on a different website or on a different part of the campus. It's not really in one place where we can all find it and all be aware, this is what we have, this is what UT has to offer. So.
Okay, that's an idea. Other thoughts? Okay, here's one.
Hi everyone, I'm Carson Jones. I'm a senior MIS major. I'm also the City Relations Agency Director for Student Government. I heard a funny joke the other day. If you see someone wearing an A&M shirt, it's likely it's because they attended that university. If you see someone wearing a UT shirt, they might have bought it at Walmart. So it's funny, and my whole family's Aggies, so they tease me about it, of course, but it brings up an interesting point. Our marketing perspective should drive that brand and should drive that awareness, but I don't think we're doing a very good job of communicating the more important things. The diversity that we have, the different programs that you can get into, and the ability to find that. So I just wanted to expand on what she just said with the fact that because we are so diverse and there are so many different groups, sometimes it's hard for a student to find something that fits with him or her. And I think if we worked on that, it might improve.
Okay.
So I'm just following that through. Do you have any little brothers or sisters trying to get into UT?
My little sister actually followed me here, and then my littlest sister will follow me here.
I'm just thinking, so if we're successful, and we make it clear this is an absolutely great place to go for students, and 60,000 students are going to apply, and it's going to make it even harder for them to get in. But that's just kind of where we're following this. I mean, it's fascinating we're talking about marketing. That's interesting.
It is very. Thank you.
Something else we heard, and I want a relative applause, sounds, whatever. Collaboration study group space. Okay. X Factor, Research University resources, huge pool, but being able to fish for the prize fish in your pool. And encouragement to students. Thinking about that as a theme.
Surprise me.
That is
okay,
surprising.
so I'm a social worker. I have to ask more about this. So the fact that people care about you at UT, not that huge a deal? Am I misinterpreting? Somebody say more. I mean, isn't that the one you were talking about?
Yeah.
Ali.
Hi everyone, my name is Ali Raza. I'm a graduating senior, College of Liberal Arts government major. I think mentorship is very important at a university level. I think mentorship really provides that segue between your undergraduate experience and the experience that a professional full-time staff or faculty have. This mentorship can be and make the difference between seeing somebody continue on from their first semester in college to seeing somebody graduate with honors and going into graduate school upon graduation. I think mentorship is very, very important because it allows for students to feel empowered, allows for students to feel as if they're being listened to being paid attention to, and that they're not simply a statistic at a school as large as UT Austin. So I think definitely finding those mentors, using these Austin 360 connections and these first-year programs that we have for incoming students, that's a great gateway to build further mentorship with full-time staff, faculty, and professors.
Where did you find your mentors, Ali? Where did they come from, and how did you establish a relationship with them?
Definitely. So I've been very privileged and very fortunate that I have a wide array of mentors in a variety of places. I've had the privilege of being an orientation advisor for 3 years, so I found many of my mentors within New Student Services and the Dean of Students. I've also experienced a great relationship with a couple of my professors within the government department, and they've kind of helped shape me in terms of understanding more about policy and governance in that respect. So a lot of my mentors, I believe, lie outside of the classroom experience, outside of the academic experience. So a lot of organizations that students are involved in, and seeing that there are people out there that want to see you succeed, not only academically, but also personally and professionally.
Great. Thank you so much. Other thoughts, maybe about how to address the issue of mentorship on campus? Here we go.
Hi everyone, my name is Crystal Nora, and I'm in the the College of Liberal Arts. And I think some of the conversations that I've had with my friends is the fact that we do go to a great research university, and sometimes there's a fear that a lot of times that professors maybe little bit more preoccupied with their research than helping students. So I've seen a lot of my friends just not reach out to their professors because they assume, well, they're working on some big research and I don't really want to bother them, or they don't really have time. But there have been times when I've gone to my office hours for a professor, my professor is just chilling by themselves, not really talking to anyone. So I think reminding students that we do go to a great university that has great research opportunities, but people are professors because they want to interact with students. So I think reminding students that it's okay to make the first email, to go to your office hours, that your professor may be by themselves because no one thinks that their professor is going to have time for them. So I think that's been my biggest thing.
Excellent. So accessibility and making it clear that we're accessible, not just offering that with office hours on a syllabus. That's great.
Hi guys, I'm Chris again. And on that note of mentoring, kind of one of the things that I found a lot of mentors in that I didn't really expect to, because we have a lot of programs that are designed to help you find a mentor, but the one way I found a mentor was actually through a pretty specialized academic program. Quick plug for Shakespeare at Winedale if anyone is familiar with that. But I mean, that is just it's a very special class in that it's a class that the professor is kind of able to take and kind of mold to how he wants to teach the class and get a group of students who really fit that vision. And I don't really have a handle on how accessible it is for faculty to create something like that. I know UGS is a lot like that. But that kind of experience was something that I didn't go in to expect to find a mentor in my professor. But he's been a great role model for me and has really helped my development as an English major and things like that. So I think those kind of specialized academic classes, not even just a program, just a single class that kind of goes against the grain, and that your professor is willing to take a very unique approach and it doesn't. I don't even think it has to be a small class, because I think I got that in my UGS class with 100 kids in it too. So I mean, I think those kind of experiences kind of have the fringe benefit of providing you with some mentorship opportunities.
So you're the first one to raise the issue of the signature course. What was that? Was your signature course?
No, that wasn't my signature course.
Okay.
That's that one's a little different because it's like an upper division English class. But I felt kind of a similar effect in my signature course. I think as far as signature courses, I think there might need to be a little more emphasis on mixing up the classroom structure, maybe not making it just like a lecture. I don't know. I mean, of course, that's up to the professor, but I think that offers the opportunity for that. And that helps students, especially in their first year, connect much more with the professor.
Excellent point. Other thoughts? Here's one. Thanks.
Hi there. Connor again. To kind of synthesize what Crystal was talking about and Trey over there about finding your prized fish within UT and the fact that there are so many different professors doing research, I feel like there's a student resource that's really underutilized on campus that I'd like to see have more support for, and that's Eureka. There's so many different professors that are doing like research in so many different areas that students could be interested in, but there's no really way to find out. There's no centralized location to be I wonder if there's anybody doing research in this type of literature or something like that. And Eureka offers that potential, but it's really underutilized, I feel like, right now. So that offers an opportunity for a student to search just some type of subject that they're interested in, and they can pull up all the professors that are in that and what they're doing in their emails. So it's an easier way to reach out, and it doesn't really limit them to the professors they see every day.
That's great. So a university resource center is one of the ideas that somebody put up on the Twitter feed.
Just as you were talking.
Yeah, and it's kind of an interesting concept that maybe this lack of a place to go to say, here's my interest, which university resource should I utilize? Because even the advisors in different departments often aren't as educated as about what other departments are offering. So that's a very interesting idea. We got more responses, and then if you'll hand him your mic, you can go next.
Last two.
I was trying to wait for it to come.
There you
Okay,
go.
hi. I'm Chelsea Jones. I'm a third-year social work major. That was actually my idea because I've talked to a lot of underclassmen who've come in and had a lot of issues and had a lot of things that go on that they didn't know that there was a solution to on campus, and one that was funded by the university. So I think that if we find a way to centralize those and show students exactly what all we have to offer, maybe through a website or from our UT Direct that kind of categorize it by whether it be health and wellness or finances or whatever it be, that we can find in one place where those resources are for us, they can be used more. Because another issue that we have with those resources is that they aren't utilized by campus because we don't know about them. So I just thought that would be a great way to do that.
That's great. Thank you. Yay, social work.
Trey Kern. Trey Curran again. Moving back to the mentorship idea, I guess to sort of involve the faculty in the room. I've been so very blessed to have just a plethora of great peer mentors that I can really look up to and inspire to be. But I've always had trouble finding that connect with a professor. I would go into office hours and the conversation would really focus in about school, academics, trying to really take that next step in the class. And I've actually been lucky enough to where one of my professors took that first step in reaching out to me more on like a personal level, like how are you doing at the university rather than just about his class. And so I've been able to sort of use him as a mentor, as a professor, as well as someone who's sort of gone through life, and so I can really try to emulate him. But I guess personally, I was wondering, as a professor, how would you appreciate a student going about that first step and opening it from purely about your classroom to about sort of life in general?
So we can get to that, but one thing I want to point out, and I don't want to cut off any conversation, but what we're talking about right now is what's the secret sauce of UT that we've got, because we're going to get to looking forward and doing those other things in a minute. We just wanted to kind of focus on this. So what I want you to do is I want you to hold that and then ask that question as moving forward, because that's what I saw as that question, and that's why I jumped in here. That's kind of moving forward. Now that you've heard mentorship is huge, you know, I think that's a great question to pose to the faculty in the room. Moving forward, how are we going to do that? So, you know, you can see the way we've kind of broken this up at this point. So hold that thought and raise your hand when we get to that third phase, which we are about to enter the second phase, which is a different question. But one last comment, two last comments, three last comments. Let's do this pretty quick. We have to move on.
I think he's going to jump in.
My name is Shad Al-Muhtar. I'm a professor in civil engineering, and I haven't heard many civil engineering students, so maybe there's some bias here. But we do a lot of actual academic advising rather than mentoring, where we have the undergraduate advisors, and we all sit in those rooms, and students come and we tell them what classes to take and move on for the next semester. And unfortunately, during that time, very few undergraduates are interested in having a much deeper discussion more than what classes to take next semester and which classes might be easier to take. But we tried something different a few years back. We tried actually to start a mentoring program in addition to the advising program, where each faculty member was assigned about 4 to 5 undergraduate students, and we were in charge of actually personally contacting them, emailing them, trying to set up time with them. And the success rate with that was so horrible that the department decided to stop it. We were sending 3-4 emails to students, and we were not getting enough response. I know from my personal experience, out of the 5 or 6, I was able to meet with one person, one of the undergraduate students. And most of the undergraduate students who are here, thank you for coming, but they're probably the kind of students who are much more interested in being more involved. And how reflective is this of the actual bigger student body? And the question, people who want to find a way to get there, they'll find a way, but the question is, how can we reach out to the other 90% of the students who want to...
Yeah, like him, hold that, because we're going to get to that.
All right.
What are we going to do in the future?
Yeah, we'll get to the solutions.
Does anybody have one last
that
thing?
haven't been mentioned
Yeah.
about uniqueness of UT and what we're providing? I think it is. Just face it towards your mouth.
Great. I'm Will Schweinfurth, and I'm a Plan 2 major, a junior. And it's been mentioned a little bit, but the unique programs like Shakespeare at Winedale and professors being able to take opportunities to try new things in their courses and break new ground and kind of have a vision for what they want for a group of students and pursue that. I think I've had a personal experience with that a lot. Partially in Plan 2, there are a lot of professors that want to try new things. I know Iverson and a lot of the chemistry department uses tech resources and lecture capture and things like that to try to change the model of teaching for them. And so I think that's something that UT does, enabling professors to try new things, cast a vision for what they want, and then share that vision with students to connect with. I think that's really powerful and creates the connection opportunities that a lot of people have talked about as well. And promoting that further would be good too.
Excellent. I think there's a response to your comment real quick.
No, it's not actually a response. It's a response to a Twitter comment.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's a great question. David said, okay, do we really need a collaborative space? Can't we just have a Facebook page? And I want to know about that. What is there about the residential experience, about being physically here, that students value?
Thank you. Okay, that's a good segue, actually.
It's a good segue. Do you have something that you want to talk about specific? Yeah.
Hi, my name is Juno An. I am a senior public health major. In response to that, I would say that a face-to-face interaction is much more valuable than a more depersonalized interaction over the internet. And I think the university has been trying to make moves towards more online, more non-face-to-face interaction through like online courses. However, many students aren't very satisfied with these personal interactions because they really want to exchange experiences personally and not through an electronic source that might seem a little a lot more depersonalized.
Okay, so it's an interesting new idea, the technology.
There's a segue, because what we're going to do is now talk about the things we don't do so well.
Right. So now, the first sheet actually said, what do we do wrong at UT? And as a social worker, I was like, we never frame things that way. And they're like, we want them honest with us. What do we do wrong? I'm not being a clinician right now. So tell us, what has gone awry? Maybe your comment is that online courses without the interpersonal connection piece are problematic. Is that true for you or other students you know, or how'd you come up? Both. Okay, good. Other people.
What we'd like you to do is just, at your tables again, just talk about the things that we may not be doing or we're not doing so well. And just sort of think about those things.
Good. Very good.
So what we want to do is we want to start, and the ideas cover a lot of territory, and just whatever came to your mind, whatever you were talking about, somebody be brave. What are we either not doing or not doing as well as we could?
Let's start at that table.
Maybe? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Emily. I am a senior in the College of Liberal Arts. I will graduate this May, and I study international relations. One thing that we discussed is kind of the big dichotomy between your first year experience and then the rest of your time at UT. I think we do a fabulous job of kind of making first year students feel at home, whether that's in a FIG or some kind of specialized advising, specifically in the School of Undergraduate Studies. And then I feel like there's this big jump between that first and second year that really shouldn't be there. There is no FIG for second-year students or third-year students or fourth-year students. And then I also addressed advising. I was initially a student in the School of Undergraduate Studies where I received very specialized, very personalized academic advising that I think really made me successful. I'm successful now because of that particular advising. And I really think it's a shame that all students at this university aren't offered that same personalized and frequent advising. I think especially when we're trying to promote a 4-year graduation rate, I really don't think you should have students who, like myself, once upon a time, emailed their academic advisor and asked for help, and their academic advisor replied and said, I actually don't work there anymore. I should never have had an opportunity where I literally didn't know my advisor had quit and then didn't have an advisor because I didn't know who to turn to. And as I mentioned before, I think we have places where our advising is absolutely top-notch and is literally award-winning. But I think that if we could make that advising available to every single student on campus, we would see lots of other problems eliminated, whether that's with mental health or just the 4-year graduation rate. I think that personalized and frequent advising could really address a lot of the other issues that we see on campus if we were to find a way to make that available to all other undergraduate students.
Great, thank you. That's good feedback. Somebody else at this table? Go ahead.
Don't know if faculty are allowed to say anything here, but this is about the residential experience, and not one word has been said about the residential experience. That there are lots of universities where sort of the heart of the experience is your living group, and that's where you argue about the existence of God at midnight over a bottle of wine. Drinking age was
when you're junior or senior because you're 21.
Drinking age was lower back then. Or where you plan an elaborate and probably highly illegal prank using what you learned in your engineering classes. And, intellectual life was 24/7 with a really tight-knit community, and I don't get the sense of UT providing that sort of intense intellectual residential experience really at all.
It's a good question. So would students, yeah, do students agree with that? I mean, that was a faculty reflection. So let's do the old applause thing. Is that something we're worried about? Okay, so I'm not totally clear whether or not everybody agrees or not that the residential experience is not the primary strength of the university. So let's talk about that.
Hi, my name is Arjun Matrilla. I'm a Plan 2 and Public Health student, and I absolutely agree with that. I think there's a lot of issues with residential housing in the UT Austin area, whether it be affordability or access. So I decided to come to UT a little bit later than most students and didn't have the opportunity to live on campus. So I lived in the dorm at Dobie, and I felt a little bit disconnected with campus in many ways, and I think just it's an overarching issue with affordability, with availability. My freshman class was, I believe, the largest in the past 15 years of UT history, and there was no way we could possibly house everyone. And so many students went off campus, they went farther away from campus, and I think that with so many issues, so many resources and availability of access on campus, it'd be really beneficial to somehow work for affordability and access on campus itself. I don't know what the answer to that is, but I think we could definitely do better.
Yeah, we're talking about the problems. That's a good comment. Let's get some more.
Sasha, just to address a place where I do think that this experience is had, I've been fortunate enough to live in the Honor Squad, which has really been, I think, probably my favorite part of my first year at UT, because this has been where I've found all of my friends. I've had those conversations, I've had those communities, I've had those peer relationships as well, as far as like mentorship, because there are older students there, the RAs, just kind of all of those wonderful things. But I know that this is a very small portion of the university, and it's not feasible for everyone to live in such a small community. But if there's any way to emulate that and to extend this opportunity to more students, I think that'd be wonderful.
Okay, you saved it at the end there. I was afraid that here we wanted you to kind of complain about the university and a compliment broke out. So
she got defensive.
But you got it. But then you got it. So
it's good. It's good. Go ahead.
Yeah, on that note, my freshman year I lived in Jester, and I spent as many possible hours that I could in the Honors Quad lobbies talking to all my friends who lived in the Honors Quad, because they had, leather chairs and a space for students to sit and talk. Whereas when I went home to Jester, I felt like the RAs were security guards, and I was swiping my prisoner identification card to get into my winding anti-riot hallway. So I really feel like, the elimination of, when I lived in Jester is, again, in the same, where there was a huge freshman class, so all of the study rooms on every floor were converted into 4-person housing systems, which is understandable. It's understandable that needs to have, primary concern is housing people, but at the same time, the elimination of those study spaces at the end of your hall completely destroys any collaboration that you had on your hall. It was a struggle to get people, outside of the Jester hallways and hanging out with each other. I mean, I knew probably 3 people in my hall.
That's so powerful, because, of course, one of the strengths of the university is having that place to collaborate, and you said that by eliminating it, it really limited you, and you had to find somewhere else. Interesting point. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Zen Ren, and I'm a Plan 2 and English major, also a former Honors Quad resident. And yeah, I see a lot of hands. Now I live in West Campus. And one thing that we talked about at this table that UT could improve on is the disconnect between administration and the students. And from my perspective, as someone who has a lot of identities and minorities, I've since coming to UT, I've noticed that there's a lot of really great student initiatives, student activism about increasing diversity. And UT does have some good resources. There's the Gender and Sexuality Center, the Multicultural Engagement Center, the DDCE, et cetera. And I'm in student government for a Queer Student Alliance, so that's great. But we don't feel like the administration is actually listening to the things that we want and truly implementing them. One thing that I've heard a lot of conversation about in recent months in town halls is the diversity training that went on in freshman orientation a couple of years ago that used to be mandatory, and now it's not, and students don't know about it anymore. And ever since that went away, there's been this feeling that there's been a lot of racial incidents, racial, sexist, homophobic, et cetera, incidents that have been happening on campus, in West Campus, and the administration isn't really truly acknowledging the fact that it's happened. And that's something that's really important to me. And there's also been conversation about at the table, like I feel like student government is meant to be a bridge between the students and administration. But even then, the communication isn't so clear.
Okay.
And I know that there are powerful students on campus that are really advocating for these changes. And the administration lets these organizations have them conversations, but they're not listening.
Okay, interesting point. Others? Oh, we got some applause for that. Good for you. How about back here? Anybody have a thought? What we're doing wrong at UT?
Fact that if you dissect all the videos that you showed at the beginning, the only point in common in all the comments of the students was a personal contact. Yeah. So whatever you do, whatever the mix is, whatever we need to improve, one of the things that we cannot lose is personal contact.
Okay then. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Josh Alvarez, and I'm a third-year sociology major. And what I like, what I've been hearing a lot is the first year experience, experience and the resources offered to first-year students. But whenever we speak about first-year students, what is the first thing that we think of? It's freshmen, and we often exclude transfer students out. What I want to note is that for me as a transfer student, I face a lot of challenges and a lot of difficulties because we often expect the administration, UT itself, believes that transfer students have that experience already, so coming here that we're going to succeed. But whenever we transfer here, the majority of students who come here to UT, their GPA drops by 1 point. The first year dropout rates for transfer students are 40% more higher than freshmen. So for me, something that UT isn't doing right is that we don't provide enough focus for transfer students. There isn't a lot of connections, there isn't a lot of organizations, there aren't any programs or services for transfer students, and that is something that I want to see. That I don't want for me and other students to feel as if we're the ones who have to do the work, and the administration isn't really hearing us, which that's how it's felt up to now.
Okay, thanks. We had one more comment here. Very nice.
So our table discussed electronic resources that UT offers, and we talked specifically about navigating through university websites, which I'm sure everyone can empathize with me, is quite a challenge. So my personal experience, going through any UT webpage is navigating is nearly impossible. So instead, what I do and what I found most other students do is Google the page itself and try to find the page directly through Google instead of navigating through the university web pages.
Really?
Yeah, and
oh my God, that's universal. Well, we did not know that, so that's if nothing else. That was worth the price of admission, folks. There you go.
However, this is a recurring problem throughout the 4 years at UT. So what I've had to do is bookmark literally every single web page that I've had to go back to just to have them ready. Otherwise, I would have to go through 5 or 6 different links just to get to what I need to see.
Boy, we have some work to do, some problem solving. That's great. One more with Ali, and then I think we may have to move on to onto solutions, perhaps.
Well, we'll summarize this.
Okay,
cool.
Great.
So, Alira's again. So we've heard a lot of good things, a lot of bad things, I guess, ironically. So I do have a couple things. I want to kind of hit on the notion of social justice. As an institution that really prides itself on diversity, we have it in our honor code, we have it in a lot of our values. As an institution that prides itself in that, we have a program within the orientation program that's optional. That just doesn't make sense to me. How can we be inclusive of all identities, all individuals, all people? How can we make them feel welcome, be they first-year students, as freshmen or transfer students? How can we? What kind of message is that sending to these students? So that's something to just really think about. Number 2, I want to talk about the registration for students. A lot of times there's a lot of different issues that have been going on when students register for classes for the following semester. I know there's been a lot of problem solving that's been going on with it, and there's a new system that's been implemented that's going to be going on for this fall semester. So it'll be interesting to see how that may help or further hinder students' ability to register for the classes that they need to graduate. As an institution that's also priding itself on wanting to increase graduation rates to 70% in a 5-year time span, having those registration access periods be accessible, available, and easily understandable by students, and academic advisors jointly is very important. So those are two things that I think need to be hit on. And then one last thing, number 3 is apathy. I think a lot of students on campus have apathy towards some administrators. Some faculty and staff may also feel apathy because students may not feel like they're reaching out to faculty and staff. We see a lot of different student leaders, a lot of different people that are involved in this room, and a lot of different town halls that we have addresses students that have already bought into UT and have already bought into what it means to be a Longhorn. But how can we reach out to those students that don't understand or that don't know, aren't aware, and how can we try to encourage, change their mindset from being apathetic to being empowered and to wanting to access all the different resources and opportunities that are available at UT. Those are just my thoughts.
Thank you, Ali. That's great. We'll have 2 more comments, one over here. There's one in the corner here. You going first or over here?
I'll go first.
Okay, great.
Is this
Thanks.
on?
Thanks for being flexible.
Okay. My name is Marco Howard. I'm a senior in CNS. I'm a chemistry major. And my only gripe, and it's extremely specific to exactly CNS, it's that I genuinely feel that the lab classes we take, we put a disproportionately large amount of work in compared to the amount of credit you actually get for the lab.
It's on record.
And yeah, I mean, like really, that's it. I just and yeah, that's my only that's really my only complaint about being here. It's just that so much effort and so much work goes into formatting these things perfectly, putting forth all of this content, and you get 1 credit hour out of all of that effort.
Good to know. Good to know. All right, and comment over here.
Hello. Hi, my name is Tim Rogers. I am currently working in Texas Performing Arts. I used to work in housing, and that's more of what I'm going to talk about. 2 separate things. One that I noticed first, and one might be a transition point. I worked in the Honors Quad. I was a hall coordinator there for a couple years, and while I was there, Longhorn scholars got moved to our building, and we were very happy to have them, but that's one of the things that I noticed that we talked about was that the university's approach to reaching underrepresented populations seemed to be a lot of getting them here and then sort of trying to provide resources, but not really providing enough resources if they didn't come from a good enough high school to also have support or have social networks that would support. So not just having an office that you'd then move out of a space into a basement somewhere, but giving actual support to students. The second thing real quick is just, before that I was a hall coordinator in what was then called Simpkins, and we don't need to get into that whole thing, but that building is on the edge of campus, sort of hidden behind things, and was seen at least at some points as kind of a joke, but that population was the best residential environment that I've seen in like about 10 years in working in housing. And so for some of the problems with the housing spaces and things, it's also some of the students can make their own wonderful housing opportunity no matter what the amenities are there. And so just remembering that no matter what housing situation you're in, you are somewhat responsible for making it the best you can.
Great. Thank you so much.
Okay, what I'd like to do real quick is just summarize, and again, we're going to do the applause thing, see what really resonates. We already heard some of it. So what I heard was that there's a fabulous first year, a lot of effort, but then there's a big jump between the first and second year, and we should think about how to have continuity throughout instead of just focus on the first year. Residential housing, affordability and access, and space that catalyzes conversations, but thinking about it in the context of education, residential space. Jester like a prison. That was a great line. Disconnect between administrators and students, especially when it comes to diversity training during orientation, and what we just heard was actual support for diversity programs, so diversity ideas.
Right.
Transfer students are not being taken care of. University websites. Registration. Okay, here's one that I'm just going to throw out there, and I just want to see if it starts a bit of a tiny conversation. If not, we're just going to move on. Substance and alcohol abuse. Do you think the university is taking this as seriously as they need to from a student's point of view? Yes, it does. I want to know what they think. Just throwing it out there.
Cole, do you want to?
Hi, I'm Amber McGee. I'm a first-year biology student. So I know that before you get to orientation, you have to do alcohol EDU. And honestly, I took that less seriously than doing my laundry. It was ridiculous. It was just really kind of ridiculous to me. And then getting to campus and seeing how pertinent that was, and especially with the activities that go on throughout the month of March and just kind of all throughout campus, it's really kind of this is a bigger part of campus life than maybe alcohol EDU made it out to be. And the fact that that was my first experience with anything like that. It really didn't educate me as the little scenarios are great, and even the orientation shows they're not as representative of how predominant that part of campus is. It is really sad, but I know the week before spring break, for the first time, I had someone show up to my lab section that was under the influence, and I'm like, I don't want you doing even a titration next to me, and just so. I feel like the alcohol EDU stuff sounds great, and you have cool campus leaders in it, and it tries to make it fun, but it's definitely not a fun situation in the first place, and we really need to reevaluate the way we take that, because it's ridiculous when you hear how many RAs have been on call and how many hospitalizations have happened just in the month of March alone. So I feel like the university definitely needs to reevaluate the way that's taken, because I know what my personal beliefs are about that situation, but it's a lot to hit, and that's one of those things that needs to be infiltrated, or not infiltrated, but discuss when you come to college.
Yeah, one of my students told me that on the day of alcohol EDU, their fraternity had Greek EDU in the evening to counteract it. So that's definitely something we've heard before. Thank you for putting it out there.
Josh again. Last week I attended an event where it was a panel of students from the Center for Students in Recovery, and they shared their stories with us. So somebody sharing their story, a very intimate story about them being abusing alcohol and different drugs and all these different substances. It was very, very intimate. It was a way for us to really see how that affected them. So I think what we need to do is really have that Center for Students in Recovery be promoted more, so that students are aware of that place as well, and have students from that place share that, because whenever you have that personal connection, when you have students who are here on campus at UT, where they tell you that, this is what I've gone through, this is what alcohol has done to me, you see the impact on it a lot more. Maybe alcohol EDU isn't what we need to do. Maybe we need to focus more on things like that.
Great, thank you so much. Other thoughts?
My name is Coleman Tharp. I'm hearing a lot of these problems, and I can identify with a lot of these problems. These that are coming up during substance and alcohol abuse, and other problems that were coming up before. And I am very afraid that a lot of them come back to the marketing issue that we discussed at the beginning as a real positive. But I do feel that there's also a very large disconnect between athletic and academic marketing. I love UT athletics. I buy more tickets than I can go to see games, because I really support that program and I support our athletes. However, the marketing engagement and the brand recognition of the athletics program goes beyond recognition of Pantone 159 Burnt Orange. There are so many programs that are underrepresented that we've talked about today. They don't have marketing budgets. The central marketing department, central communications, is not pushing them in the ways that they should be to transfer students, to orientation students, to international students, to students coming in from rural communities. And I feel like as we're looking forward, we're moving it, as we're wrapping up, moving forward, looking to the future, yes, that there needs to be sort of a synthesis between, we've got a great strategy for marketing the athletic Longhorns, but maybe we could take elements of that strategy and develop them into marketing elements of the academic and the life Longhorns.
Okay, that is great. Perfect. And you know what?
Perfect segue.
You have just segued perfectly we do not have a whole lot of time left. I very much appreciate the energy that's been in this room and the free flow of thought. When you try to organize something like this, one of the first things you think is, what if you ask for questions and students don't say anything?
Yeah.
This is great. I appreciate it. take 1 minute at your table and talk about that one thing that we need to do moving forward that is going to make UT a better place, the one thing. So go ahead and talk to your table
And
for a
feel
minute.
free to use Twitter as well, because we're going to keep track of this feed.
Okay.
All right, let's
Very
convene.
quick. One thing I want to point out is you all have a form. It really, really, really helps. This is the beginning of a conversation. And it's very important that we get feedback on what's going well, what's not. It's very difficult to have a conversation among 50,000 students and a couple thousand faculty, as you could imagine. So we're doing our best, but tell us what we did right, tell us what we did wrong. Okay, what I want to do is I'm going to go around the room and anybody raise their hand and give us that one thing that we absolutely need to make sure that we do moving forward with UT.
Here's one behind you too.
Have first-year students live on campus.
All first-year students live on campus. Applause, loud applause.
Applause, not applause. Okay.
Continue to have forums like this, because without the voices of the students and of the faculty, none of this will ever continue to move forward.
Ongoing forums, faculty forum, student forums. Go ahead. Yeah, that's what she said.
Require every freshman to live on
Yes.
campus?
Yes. Yes.
No, that's not what I'm asking.
That's what she's asking. If you would require it and make it feasible.
I understand your reality, and I don't disagree with that. But I'm asking a philosophy question.
Yeah.
Should every freshman be required to live on campus?
No.
Should it be possible for any freshman who wants to live on campus? Two different questions. Thank you for helping me clarify.
No, that's clarification. There you go. Very good.
Okay.
Over here.
Wouldn't it be nice if that was the way you get faculty resolutions passed? We're done.
Do you mind? Go ahead.
Okay. I think that cultural diversity training is very important and needs to be something that's mandatory for both faculty, staff, and students on this campus. I feel like we can always get students of color here. We can recruit them, but we can't retain them if they get here and they don't feel welcome here.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
My table talked about the smaller learning communities and groups. We feel like it's that personal connection, whether it's a FIG or some kind of 360 connection, that's going to make those first-year students be successful, eventually stay, and then graduate in 4 years. Without that, we think there's just a big gap that we can't really fix.
Great.
University moving forward do a better job of taking advantage. We live in Austin, Texas, the fastest growing city in the country, one of the most popular places to be. The state capital is 3 blocks down the road. We're becoming a tech hub. There's really unlimited opportunities just right here in the city. And the university is a huge part of that, but we don't capitalize on that resource in the same way that we should. So really make the university a greater part of
Capitalize?
the fabric of Austin here and take advantage of what we have going in this city right now.
Thank you, Andrew. Sorry to interrupt. Being silly.
I think that UT as a whole should take a program like UTLA and outsource this. Put it in cities where kids are going to fulfill their majors and start their career. Do one in New York, do one internationally, do one wherever students are going to attain jobs.
Okay. Got someone over there. Thanks.
Once again, very specific to CNS, but I think the most important program in CNS is the Freshman Research Initiative, because that is where, as a student, you get to go to see whether or not you actually like to do science.
Very good. Now over here?
Clay Clark, nursing. And I know this is like the key word of the day, but I think we need to do more marketing for our academic side of the university to catch up to the athletic marketing that we're doing. I know they're separate institutions, but I think there needs to be catch up to the athletics, because that is more well known than our academic excellence.
Thanks. Go ahead.
Hi. I'd like to see an expansion of peer mentorship programs across the entire university, as well as across all grades.
Okay. Over here?
I'd like to see increased communication between faculty and administration and UT interest groups such as student government and different agencies to help support the opinions of the students, especially in terms of affordability and diversity.
Great, thanks.
We mentioned trying to reach the other 90% of students, And I think for a lot of them, that's not going to happen from the students having to take the first step. A lot of it is going to have to happen from the university and professors and programs taking the first step to try to really, like, realistically and concretely connect with students. So I think the university needs to take more of the approach of finding new ways to engage students, allowing professors to find new innovative ways to, like, create a class that's interesting to students and connects with them in a way that they think about things differently and try to engage with their university and community in a different way.
Great, thanks.
More scholarships and financial aid so that we not only attract the best talent, but that we also capture that talent as well.
Wonderful.
I also think it would be really cool to make dining on campus cheaper for older students. Like, if you don't live on campus, it's ridiculously expensive to dine on campus. And obviously I wouldn't eat there all the time, but if I could buy like a cheap meal plan, that would be a really cool way to have those conversations that are so important. Like, if I'm already down here for class, we could go to eat at Jester or something like that. But right now it's too expensive to do that, so.
I think it's important for new coming students to know that even though a lot of the professors are really busy with the research and everything, most of us at least feel part of our duty is to mentor them. And I think I heard from few that they feel our professors are too busy to do that, when in reality, I don't think many of the professors would shut their door if students come to mentor them. I think it's important to have this idea go across to students when they first come, that if you go and check with any professor, most probably they're going to be there to mentor you. And maybe people are afraid to do that when they first come here, and we need to make sure that they're not.
Excellent, thank you. Over here?
I think UT as a whole needs to do a better job of inviting and supporting students from when they get that Gone to Texas banner to when it's their commencement time. A lot of times when you first get in, I know as a CNS student, I'm getting emails, I have to take Alex, I have to do all these things, and really that's not necessarily preparing me for my time here. It's just making sure that, like, oh, you pass UT's checklist. So really just making sure that, like, throughout everything, the feelings we want to create with the dorms and just the opportunities you get throughout organizations and such are really consistent throughout your whole time at UT, be it however long you're here when you start. So just making sure that that's really consistent.
Great, thank you. Okay, so.
Okay, I want to very much applaud the students who came here today.
Woo!
You know,
Bravo.
I didn't welcome them and I didn't thank them at the beginning, but I know how much you probably thought 3 times when you read that email from me saying, come and talk in front of a bunch of people. And thank you for coming. I very much appreciate it. Tell your friends. The Twitter feed is up. You can continue that. So this is a conversation that is going on. Share your thoughts. Have your friends share your thoughts. Thank you very, very much.